Hello, I'm Atendra Chaturvedi. In this video, we will look at Update Manager Download Service, also known as UMDS, version 6.5. We will do a lab regarding its installation and configuration. So we will install the Update Manager Download Service, UMDS version 6.5, and then later on look at configuring and operating UMDS version 6.5, as there is a command line interface that we use for that purpose. Install the download service. And I click on download service and I go to install. Now please note, I am trying to install the download service on the same server where I just installed the vSphere Update Manager. Let's see what happens. I run this. I select the language. It's going through its process. As you know, the download service is a place where you can download patches and other information once into your data center, and then multiple update managers can access that information. The download service repository can be accessed in two different ways. One is by copying the files over into a DVD or some kind of a USB and then using SneakerNet to send it over to the host, or installing a web server on the download service repository and then using that to provide the data and the patches over to multiple update managers that might be in the environment. So this is the error that I wanted to show you. VMware vSphere Update Manager download service and VMware vSphere Update Manager cannot coexist on the same system. This may not be the correct answer, but I think that this is because we are looking to use the download service with an almost like an air gap between the ESXi hosts that might be in a separate security domain and may not possibly have access to the internet like it would be provided with an update manager. So the download service basically is a way of, in an independent secure environment, downloading from the internet all the patches and then internally being able to access that information in a much more secure way. So we will go through the process of installing this update manager on a separate Windows server also to show you how that works, and then the various command lines that are the CLI that is used for update manager management. So back in the lab again, I'm logged into a Windows 2012 server, R2 server at 192.168.0.52, and this server is not running the update manager service which we installed on a different server. The reason is that the update manager download service, the UMDS that we are looking to install here, cannot be installed on a server that is running the update manager. UMDS also needs to be installed on a 64-bit server, and I believe it cannot be installed on a Windows server that is running as a domain controller either. So from my laptop, I have a folder that is available here in this Windows Server 2012 R2 machine. This is the virtual infrastructure package, the Windows-based package for installing vCenter server. Right-click on Auto Run, run as administrator. Click on Download Service. I'm going to use the Microsoft SQL Server 2012 Express as an embedded database, and I click on Install, and it is now picking up the file from my laptop, and this takes a few seconds because there is a little bit of security validation that it has to do. So it comes up with this open file security warning screen simply because it's on a different laptop. I click yes, and the process of installing the Microsoft SQL Server 2012 Express SP2 begins. I'm going to pause here and we'll come back to it when there's something more to show after the Microsoft SQL Server 2012 Express SP2 has been installed. So after SQL Server Express is installed, we go quickly through the same kind of installation we did earlier for the update manager, and it's going to do an install. Of course, on this Windows Server 2012 R2, .NET Framework 3.5 SP1 is not installed, so that's a prerequisite and will be installed. So we'll come back to the video when this is complete. I click on OK, and it's installing .NET 3.5 SP1. So once the .NET Framework 3.5 install is done, we click Next, accept the terms of the license agreement, and configure the proxy settings if any. I have a direct connection to the internet, so we're not going to do that. I will keep the same folders for the download service itself, and the location for downloading the patches would be the same as well. So I will click Next. So it says free space in the drive is less than 120 gig, sizing estimator and so on. So just make sure that you have free space. So it's just a warning. So I click OK, and I click Install to begin the installation. And we'll pause until there's some progress. So the installation is complete. The installation of the vSphere Update Manager download service version 6.5. The UMDS tool is a command line tool. It can be installed on 64-bit servers, which is what we have, and it is installed in C, program files, x86, it's program files, VMware, infrastructure, update manager. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that there are two different applications here. One is the VMware UMDS, and the other is the VMware Update Manager utility, which is used to change various options on the update manager. So we need to run from the command line the VMware-UMDS application. So I've opened a Windows PowerShell window and have navigated down to program files, VMware infrastructure. We are now going to run the command VMware UMDS, so that'll be / that is, without a space, VMware-UMDS -H for help, and we are going to pipe it. And so what we can see is that there's a basic command, and then there is a whole bunch of options. So one can print the current UMDS configuration with the -G. We can try that. Change this to a capital G, and you can see that the configuration looks like this. The URLs for host are basically already set up here. So there's one for Cisco. This is obviously for the VMware depot itself. That's the Cisco depot, and then you have the various virtual appliance catalogs. The patch store location on this system, which is hosting UMDS, is the program data VMware VM and so on. The export location is not there right now, and host patch content is enabled, and the various versions for which patch content will be downloaded is version 5.5, 6.0, 6.1, and 6.5. Now we need to select which of these we are going to actually use, and since we are running version 6.5 on this host, I suggest we look at embedded ESX 6.5-0-INTL. Now in order to do that, there is another command, and that's basically to specify the updates, and for that you use the S switch. How about we just do a download based on the current configuration? I'll download a whole bunch of things, and there we go. Bank as well. Yep, all these are Cisco ones. So we let this run for a few minutes. Well, it looks like it is at version 5.1 still, so there's a whole bunch of stuff still to go through. So I'm going to Control-C this if I can, and we have successfully stopped all those downloads coming in there. Essentially what you have to do is to deselect version 5.1, 5.5, and then download only the versions that you need. Once that is done, then these updates need to be exported along with their metadata with the E switch. So to export all downloaded updates to this, we say VMware, we set that as a default export store, and if you just do a VMware-UMDS-E, that will do the export. Now this has to be an external data store in the sense that this has to be something that can be detached, like a USB drive or something of that nature. Otherwise this would not function. If you put in a C, like I've done a couple of times, that would not work. So you need to key in the name of or the path to a removable drive, and then this drive can of course be plugged into the ESXi hosts. So in order to create a removable storage which could be used for exporting the downloaded patches and other items from VMware using the UMDS, what I did was, on my laptop I inserted a USB which became my H drive, and then I mapped that to the Windows server running UMDS here as the Z drive. So now we have the Z drive, and then when we enter the command to set the option, -S sets the option for the default export store to be Z:/UMDS, with UMDS being a directory which I created on that Z drive. When I enter this command, it sets up the UMDS configuration, and the directory for exporting updates is now Z:/UMDS. So now when I do an export using the default export store by keying in $/VMware-UMDS-E, it starts the process of exporting all the patches and other material from the downloaded store that was used by the Update Manager download service. When this is done, I can then unplug the USB and then insert it into a ESXi host and use it as part of the Update Manager to update or patch my servers. The other option is, of course, I can run a web server and point it to my H drive or the Z drive, and then from there I can point the individual Update Manager instances over to that export store, and they will pick up all the information right from there. In the next video, we will look at the process of upgrading vCenter 6.0 to the latest vCenter 6.5. I look forward to seeing you there.